Uh, I was told to record. Um, and I guess Alan has one too many C4s because he has too much energy apparently. Curtis, how you feeling, buddy? How's
Great.
your hip?
Can't
Good.
complain.
Awesome. Now go ahead and mute yourself because I really don't want to listen to you. I just had to ask the question to be polite. All right. Take notes. Sure to IG as always. This month's reading, The Next Five Moves by Patrick Bet-David. Anybody had a chance to start reading it or listening to it? No, do it. I'm enjoying the book. I enjoy a lot of Patrick's background story. So I take him a lot more seriously. But he came out of nowhere, refugee from Iran, to make I don't know if millions or billions, but I think those numbers, it doesn't really matter that much anymore. Self-made, give some good advice of just how to tackle your goal settings, right? So I like that a lot. So love to hear your thoughts next week. This month challenge, doing your squats every time you go to the bathroom. How many of you been doing that? All right, Liam, thank you. I have. All right. How many squats do you average a day?
So it depends how much I'm drinking, but I would say at least 30.
That's very few. Dude, I poop more than that. All right. Yeah, I've been averaging between 70 and 100 squats a day. And honestly, I started to feel my legs. So, but that's the idea, right? The whole idea of this month challenge is to show you that do something consistently over time will drive results. So if you haven't started yet, we're at the beginning of the month, go ahead and do it. Every time you go to the restroom, number one. Number two, if you're like Liam and you only pee 3 times a day, then every time you go to wash your hands or check your face in the mirror, do 10 squats, right? So that's how we instill that habit, and that's really the idea. How many of you have been tracking your goals on the platform? Yeah, yep, Jack, I know you, I see you, but you always have been consistent about it. So you have now, guys. I checked yesterday. I told you I'm going to give you till Friday, so you have a couple more days. It's not difficult. You do something. It's only 8 of them a day, or give yourself a reminder before you go to sleep. You brush your teeth at night. Just put yourself like a little reminder on the mirror. Get on the app. Just check what you did and didn't do. Be honest, but the idea is to see that you track things, not necessarily how good you are at doing all those things, but the fact that you go daily and hold yourself accountable. Next month's event, we have Intuitive Pistol June 29th. Again, it's all free and included for you guys. You do have to go on the platform and RSVP. It is limited to 8 people. Also, how many people do we have signed up right now? Did anybody sign up yet? I know we just posted it. We have one person signed up. Okay. No? Oh, 1 minute. Got it. I got to learn how to read Allison's mind. I'm working on it. While she's doing that, this month's speaker is Brian Tony, Financial Advising. And Liam, I think you should certainly be on the call. You're coming from that world. I think you would add some value with some good questions. So if you have the opportunity, go ahead and do so. 7 p.m. on June 11th, so a week from today. Again, if you are local and you're coming to classes, just stick around and hang out with us. If you, we do it all locally at our lounge, but if you're not, you can always log in remotely. Liam, I still have your T-shirt from the weightlifting event. So, signing up is just saying interested in the event. No, yes. So yeah, but I don't know where you disappear, Greg, but that also obligates you to show up. You are taking a spot for someone. So I want you all to sign up, but I also want you to come if you're signing up. Okay, so it's a fine balance there. Anyways, Liam, I have a T-shirt, so next time you're in, just remember to give it to you. All right, so we're gonna get into today's topic. Today's topic being a conditioning week. It's the first week of the month, so our first pillar. For those of you that check your daily goals, you would know that would be your first pillar. You can pretty much know what I'm going to talk about every week if you actually checked your goals daily. But it's going to be all about stamina. So I'm going to start by a quote by Admiral William McRaven, who was a SEAL, and ultimately his last role was as the commander of U.S. Special Operations. He's the one that led and directed, obviously from a U.S. SOCOM, command standpoint, the raid to get Bin Laden. After that, he became the chairman for the University of Texas or Texas University. I can't remember how they go by system. So certainly a well-accomplished individual and knows everything that we should know about stamina. And his quote is as such: "The days are long, the stakes are high, the pressure is sometimes unbearable. It seems like every organization burden rests on your shoulders. That is why being a leader requires such stamina. You must be physically, emotionally, and spiritually strong. Your employees will feed off your strength, but if you show fatigue and tiredness, and if you are dragging from the challenges, you will drain the energy from your employees and the organization will suffer." How many of you can relate to that? In the sense that you show up sometimes with real low energy and everything goes to shit. But the days that you're up and you're good and you're running, then everything seems to kind of track along, right? How many of you in this on this call? I know it's a few of you. I've done my PSD class. I know Ann did, Jerry did, but we can't see him right now. I know Tyler did. She's not on the call. I don't know where she is. My wife is failing me. But a bunch of you have done the class. And what does each day start with? And every day during the training, what's the first thing we do?
Workout.
Workout. We do a PT every morning, right? We meet at 6 a.m. We're there usually by 5:30 because you better not be late, right? And we start with a PT. Now, the PT are specific to the skill sets that are relevant for dignitary protection. But with that, there are two reasons why I start every day with PT, right? So first of all, your physique does matter, right? In from a professional standpoint, nobody's going to hire a dignitary protection specialist that looks like shit, right? If you're counting on that guy to protect your life, then you want it to look like someone that can protect your life. How many of you came across that big fat slop cop, right? And you're like, I can't respect that, right? We've all seen that individual, right? And you see the officer, it doesn't have to be a stud necessarily, but carries himself well, right? The uniform is nice and clean and iron, right? They project that authority, right? And that comes through the physique to big extent. The second thing, though, is because we need to maintain mental acuity and clarity. Now, I'll tell you, probably everybody likes that dignitary protection because they watch a movie Bodyguard one too many times and they think it's all sexy and you're gonna shoot your client and you're gonna be chasing cars and fighting with swords and doing all that. Honestly, it's one of the most boring professions out there because 99.9% of the time, you'll be doing nothing. You'll be standing outside a room and watching. How quickly do you think you're gonna lose interest? Your brain is gonna start wandering and you're gonna lose focus pretty quickly, right? So the way we combat that, there's a few tricks, but one of them is just maintaining stamina. The better my stamina is, the better I will be at maintaining focus, right? So my mental acuity is a direct response to my physical stamina. And that goes into anything you do in life, right? If you guys are working on your computer, right, you are more likely to start going around into different aspects, going to social media, getting distracted if you can maintain the mental focus. And the mental focus comes down from you having the stamina to do so, right? So let's define stamina. So this is from Google, the definition of stamina. Stamina is the physical or mental strength that allows you to do something for a long time. It's essentially the ability to endure physical or mental exertion over an extended period of time, right? How many of you find that you're doing any task for more than 5, 10, 15 minutes? It can be a physical task, a mental task, right? We all do that all day long, but we are more likely to be successful if we have the stamina to do so. So if I know somebody has stamina, which means to me they have to train for that stamina, right? We're going to talk about it in a second, but stamina is something we can build. What does that tell you about the person? Okay, so this is a question for you. I'm going to give you my list in a second. But somebody, let's say somebody goes and works out every day developing stamina. What does that tell you about them? You can unmute yourself and just chime in.
They care about themselves.
They care about themselves, right? So that's on my list, right? Okay, that's important. If they care about themselves, okay, they're going to care about the organization, right? They're going to push themselves forward, right? So that's important. What else? Well, this is not a trick question. You guys don't work out, right? What does that get you to do? Yes, Greg.
They're
So you
they're
understand.
they're disciplined
They're
and
disciplined, yeah. Okay, they're consistent, right? Nobody develops stamina or strength by doing something once, right? So they have to do it over a long period of time. What else does that tell you?
They're not ruled by their emotions. So if there's
Okay.
something that needs to be done, they can do it.
Yeah, wonderful, right? So they don't get distracted as easily, right? Okay. One more in my mind, they do not avoid pain and they can endure hardship, right? Okay. Listen, life sucks. It can be professional, it can be relationships, it can be physically, whatever it is. There's going to be obstacles, right? And most people, human nature is to get away from pain, right? To do what's easy, right? A person that shows me that they have stamina, that means they don't fear pain, they don't fear that discomfort, and they're willing to work through it. So if I have two applicants coming for a job, right? And one of them tells me he works out every day or runs every day, and the other person doesn't, right? All else being equal, who is more likely to buy my favor, right? The person that has the better stamina, right? That showed me that they work out for it, right? So how do we develop stamina, right? So the honest truth is there's no shortcuts, right? You want to develop stamina, you got to do the work, right? Pick any activity, okay? Typically, when we talk about stamina, we'll refer to it generically with the term cardio, right? You're doing some sort of cardio because we're talking about stamina, not necessarily strength, right? But it doesn't have to be, right? But pick any activity. Most of you that are on this call, I know you guys work hard if it's doing Krav Maga or whatever else, right? Most of you are active, right? But you got to find something that you can do consistently. The second thing is you got to create a schedule. Okay, so how do we develop consistency? We hold ourselves accountable. Let me ask you this: in average, raise your arms. How many of you work out more than 3 times a week? Okay, 4 times a week, 5 times a week, 6 times a week. Okay, perfect. I'll give you 1 day off, Craig. Okay, but that's the reality of it, right? So we need to build a schedule. We need to challenge ourselves. If you work out for 3 days a week for the past 20 years, you're no longer developing stamina. You are at that plateau that you train yourself to be at. The way we develop stamina is we're taking it to that discomfort level. It's by taking it 1 notch higher, right? I work out every day. And the only reason I work out every day is because I can't work out more than every day, right? I'm limited in the amount of days in a week. Actually, sometimes when I want to challenge myself, that's 2 workouts a day, right? But that's how we develop stamina. So you want to create a schedule to challenge yourself. You want to aim for time and distance rather than speed or power. Okay, so what's the difference in developing stamina and developing strength, right? When I work for strength, I'm going to do short sets, right? Real heavy, long periods of rest. Is it uncomfortable? Yeah, 100%. Does it hurt? 100%. Is the developing stamina? No. Is that person going to be able to endure long hardships and maintain mental acuity? Not so much. It doesn't translate the same way, right? So what I want to do is focus less on the output in terms of volume per se and more on the duration, right? So if you guys think of running as the bar, it doesn't have to be running, right? It can be working the bag, it can be biking, whatever you guys want to do, right? Think in terms of time and distance. So my goal is to run a little bit longer every time, either distance wise or time wise. Okay, so I do 3 cardio workouts a day, so I alternate lifting and cardio every day. My 3 cardio, I have 1 day of a short kind of high intensity sprints, but the other 2, one of them is rocking. I put a bag on my shoulder and I just go for a walk. I play with the incline on my treadmill. I know a lot of people don't like treadmills. I like it because I can do work and I can watch clips and videos or whatever I need to do, right? But I try to challenge myself in how high of an incline I can go and for how long can I sustain it. And every day I try to go a little bit longer, right? And the third workout is a long distance run. So I shared with you guys in the past, I'm training for half marathon with my son. So my goal is to run that 10, 13 miler, and every time just a little bit longer, just a little bit longer. So that 13 mile become a walk in the park, right? So you want to aim for time or distance. Next thing you're going to do is you want to track it, right? Like the saying goes, what gets measured gets managed. If you don't measure, you have no idea what you're doing, right? This applies to anything in life, right? But certainly we're working out in stamina. So if we take that lesson and we apply it to, let's say, your finances, okay, if you don't track your finances, if you don't know what's going on in and out, you cannot manage your finances. You do not know where you are, right, in life, in a sense. If you don't track, let's say your date nights, right? If they're not scheduled, if you don't track them, right, you can manage it. You can know if you're doing well or not well. Arguably, you know you're not doing well, but you can fix it, right? So certainly when we come to stamina, right? I want to know how many workouts I'm putting in, what's the distance I'm doing every time, what's my output, right? So I can track it, I can manage it, and I can keep improving on it. So I always want to track it, right? So use tracking to see progress. The other thing that tracking does, it acts as a motivator. If I know I need to track it. So for me personally, and I would love to hear your opinions, but if I go in and I see, okay, last week I did 7 miles, and today I'm gonna go for 7.25, right? Because I always try to beat myself up. I always try to do a little bit better. So, that that tracking allows me to motivate myself, right? It also helps me to hold myself accountable. If I see that I skipped a workout, it's obvious there. Okay. Show you one more thing. So you guys know I have my daily to-do list and I have a checklist for everything. But one thing I do is if I do everything, I don't know if you guys can see, wrong direction. I put a little flame kind of emoji next to it when I complete all my tasks. They're not always there. Some days I miss, right? So I don't check it off. But for me, that's a motivator. I always want to get everything so I can put a little flame on it. And if I don't, right, that holds me accountable. I'm like, okay, I fucked up. I can't fuck up again, right? Okay. So that's what tracking does to you. It helps you stay on track. Funny how the word works, right? So that's the idea. So our goal is always to develop stamina. And again, stamina will translate to everything in your life. So I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're a financial advisor, I'm just look at the squares on my screen, right? Financial advisor, if you're an HVAC guy, if you are a self-defense instructor, if you work on solar, if you work for a government contractor, right? You need focus to be the very best at your profession. And in order to be that very best, especially if your job requires some sort of a physical element, then stamina is a direct translation to whether or not you'll be able to do that to the fullest, right? So give me one takeaway, one thing you're doing well, and one thing you can do better in developing stamina. Yeah, I'm putting you on the line, guys. Go ahead, Liam.
I think one thing, doing well, Krav especially helps with that, but making sure that a workout gets in most days of the week. One thing I still don't do is like tracking the workouts. So most of the time I go into the gym, it's like, what do I feel like doing today? And it's usually like the same. I call it my favorites that I like, my lat pull downs and my, presses. It's like, yeah, I do Liam's favorites anytime I go to the gym. So taking measurements and making sure that I'm hitting different, body, muscles, and making sure I'm getting more well-rounded in the workouts as opposed to just doing the same thing over and over.
Yep. So you can certainly write your own workouts. There's also plenty of apps out there and programs that you can buy. A lot of them are free that will tell you, okay, Monday you do this, Tuesday you do this, and it's typically based on your goals, right, and your level. By level, I mean they'll ask you how long have you been working out, and what have you been doing, and so forth, and design a workout for you. But that's one way to be held accountable and track and get you out of your kind of preset routines that you kind of fall into, right? But that's great. So at least you know that. And the easiest thing is honestly, it's for you to come up with a plan. Okay, I like my lats and tries, so that's going to be on day one. On day two, I'm going to do chest and buys, right? And just start by outlining for yourself a routine that makes sense. Okay, good. Somebody else, give me what you're doing well and what you can do better. I'm gonna start calling you if you guys don't volunteer. You're gonna be voluntold. Yeah, go ahead, Ed. Thank you.
I'm kind of hard on myself, so it's hard to think of what I'm doing well, but there is something small that I've been doing. I've been making my bed. So I always wanted to be that person that made their bed when they got up, and it kind of does set the tone. So I make my bed, I open the window to get the air flowing, and that at least is something small that I have consistently been able to do. And then one thing that I'm really working on is listening to my critical thinking versus my emotion, because that's what gets me all the time. So I know that when I train, everything else is better. But my emotions come in and it's like, oh, well, we had an issue with Izzy this weekend, threw off my Monday. I didn't get to Muay Thai. I had, I was up all night stressing about kids belt testing. So I didn't train at all yesterday. So it's just like, I need to be able to sit down and write. This is what I ended up doing to kind of get myself wrapped around what happened with Izzy was like, what is really the facts and what are your emotions telling you? And it's okay to not listen to your emotions. Cause I think I've been I'm a bit of an intense person. I don't know if you guys know that.
One may say.
I might
So
say.
I'll pick on a few things that you say because I think it's great. I appreciate you sharing. So first of all, the whole idea of making your bed, I quoted Admiral McRaven earlier. That's his big thing, right? Make your bed. And if you guys have not gone on YouTube and listened to his commencement speech at the University of Texas, literally calls it "Make Your Bed," and it says about how that will set the tone for your day. Okay, it's one small task that you accomplish first thing in the morning, and then once you accomplish one task, you're more likely to accomplish the next task, and then the next, and so forth. So it starts a positive snowball effect. And if your day still went to shit, at least you're coming back to a made bed at the end of the day, right? So making your bed is big. There's a reason the military starts with a bed inspection every morning, right? It does set the tone. So I do agree with you on that end, and I think that's great. I mean, that's something that you didn't historically do, and now you're doing, and hopefully you can reap the benefits of it. The other thing I would say about you letting emotions take over, and I hear you, and it's very easy to let that get in the way. Great job on thinking a little bit more analytical and putting it down on paper. I would say, and I know you would agree with me, and sometimes it's easier said than done, but there's nothing that will put your brain at ease or get you to think clearer than working out, right? So the benefits of working out, aside from all the physical and the focus and whatever, it releases endorphins, right? And it's a feel happy type hormones, and those get you to think clear, remove some of that negative emotion, and it gives a time separation. If I know I'm feeling shitty, but I'm gonna go for a run for an hour, go live for an hour, right? My brain will still run throughout that hour, but it gives a separation. By the end of the hour, my thought process has completely changed, right? Because you start to have that internal dialogue, and then reason start factoring in more, right? So the more I give that time separation, the less emotional I am, more logical I become, right? So your response was, let's go and put it on paper. I would say use that as an opportunity to go out for a walk or go out for a run or go hit the bag, and you accomplish the same thing, right? But you'll develop stamina in the process too. So just a little tidbit on that one. Love it. All right, somebody else. Chris is like, sorry, Curtis is not doing anything right now. He's like, I'm just gonna sit here and eat Doritos, and that's my stamina. Then you knew I'm gonna pull on you. You're really good for a while training for your half marathon. What happened since?
I've restarted 75 hard.
Okay, nice. And that's your third time?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. So
awesome. So let me ask you this, because I know a few people on this call that have either tried or completed 75 hard. Actually, when Greg and I started hanging out, he was in the middle. We all went drinking and he couldn't drink, which sucks for him. But this is the thing about 75 hard, right? 75 hard is designed to essentially give you all the lessons that we discussed today. Do something hard, do something difficult, suck it through, be consistent, right? But I don't want to say the downfall, but where most people don't take it to the next level is they do it for the 75 days, they endure it, they complete it, but they don't let it permeate their life moving forward, like taking those habits and applying them later on, right? So I would say that there's no reason why somebody should do 75 hard 3 times, right? You should be able to do it once and then make it a habit, right? So what are we going to do different then?
Well, for me, that's what I'm working on, is making it more of a lifestyle habit. Than I'm not as worried about doing this just to say I completed 75 hard. It's to make that change to where it becomes something consistent. And even I mean, although I know when you're legit doing 75 hard, you're not supposed to tweak it. But like 2 45-minute workouts a day is hard. So my second workout is really the cold plunge. I replaced that.
Okay. As long as you're consistent about it, that's the bottom line, right? But the goal is to not to stop at 75 days, right? So day 76, you should still do a 45-minute workout at a cold plunge.
Well, and that's the funny part about it is a lot of people will take the break because it's actually a year-long program. It's not just 75 days if you know the whole thing. And a lot of people will take that break going from 75 hard into phase 1, and almost always that break is what snaps everything. And that's what happens for me. Anytime when it comes to something consistent, it's the one day missed creates the ripple effect of not continuing it as a habit. So just working on staying consistent there, even on Sundays. It's like no days off kind of thing.
Yeah.
And then and that's why he intentionally, because of that, you have to take, I think, a 30-day break at least between phase 1 and phase 2 to challenge yourself to be able to stop it and restart it. And even more people drop the ball there, or maybe it's phase 2 to phase 3, but yeah.
But I would argue that is part of the criticism that the program also got, right? Because it's trying to build people into consistent, then they'll break it. They will quit, right? But if we try to really instill a life habit, then why force that stop, right?
Yeah. And that's why I've tweaked it for myself to make it something that's something I can realistically do every day. And the 2 45-minute workouts, getting one outside, and whether it be a walk or a run, and then getting a workout, at a gym style, that scheduling wise, I think becomes the bigger hurdle. So for me, I know the benefits of the cold plunging and what it does for me. So I'm using that as I still got to get one workout in for sure. But then replacing that with the cold plunge and making that the consistent factor. So
okay, awesome, love it. So let's keep doing that. Alan, I heard you went to the gym to lift yesterday before class. Alan is trying to figure out the mute and unmute. All right, good talking to you, Alan. That was the camera change from front to back. Wrong button. All right, Dennis, you show up to the gym once, maybe twice a week, always late. What do you do the rest of the week?
I'm not working out. Actually, need to start doing it. I've started developed elbows problems, so I stopped kind of doing trips and stuff. But prior to the actual craft test I've done, I was much more consistent with it. So push-ups every day and lots of them. And then another thing that kind of helped, I had ChatGPT develop a workout plan for a craft test. And it went through bear crawls, through everything else, to like type of kicks, to like it gave outstanding itinerary with the types of stuff that you could do. Like so that was helpful. But I kind of fell off the wagon afterwards. So need to get back in shape.
He knows Skynet is doing it on purpose. If we tell humans to do that, it'll be easier to take them over. All right. But no, I just read an article today. You mentioned that you did a lot of push-ups, or used to do a lot of push-ups. How detrimental actually push-ups are if you want to get true muscular strength and size growth. So push-ups are good, but not overly doing them, right? So it's funny because it's always the go-to for most martial arts programs, right? But what can you do to get back into a routine and be more consistent so actually develop stamina? Because your elbows don't stop you from going running, buddy.
Yes, that's true, but I hate running. But so that's a fair statement.
One more reason why you should do it: do something hard that you don't like. That's when we develop stamina, right?
Yes, and actually one of the I think the squat challenge is going to be big for me because I've tried. I started going down what you suggested, just like holding on and just going down lower with that, and so I think doing that more frequently as a habit, I think that would be a huge change. But overall, I need to figure out workout schedule really and just stick to that. That's
If you need help with that, let me know. Catch me in class or after class, and I'll help you design something basic. at least to get you into the routine, and then we can build it from there, right? So the idea is not to overstretch ourselves initially either, right? So kind of like to Dan's point earlier, if we do it too hard from the get-go, people are less likely to stick with it. So start with something manageable that challenges us, but then start adding and building on top of that, right?
Yeah, I feel for me it's actually a little bit different. Like I'm in route type of person, so it's like when I was doing when I'm consistent, when I do more, I'm much more consistent with that. So it's even if it's not logical and doesn't make sense and it's pushing too far, I'm still more like, unless I'm really like sore or or injured or stuff like that, then that's an issue. But if I'm just going through a hard workout, that's like me having another hard workout tomorrow or much higher, then I don't do anything. So it's I don't know if that's good or bad, but I just that's been
No,
the
that's
case.
fine, but it's the thing. So no, so what I'm saying is you want to challenge yourself, but you don't want to go too hard from the get-go, right? Because if that's going to get you either injured or get you to quit, then that defeats the purpose, right? But so you start with consistency. You start by building a schedule, right? And you start easy. Like if I tell you, okay, every day you got to do these 10-minute workout, right? You can manage that, right? And then on week 3, we say, okay, we're gonna take these 10-minute workouts, we're gonna make them 15 or 20 minutes, right? So then we start pushing that envelope a little more. So we do gradually, but the goal is initially to create a consistency, not necessarily the intensity. Does that make sense?
Yeah. What like once I go to work out, I'll spend an hour there. I don't have a problem with that. It's going and doing it. That's the or scheduling and constantly doing that. That's really been sort of a challenge for me.
Right. Also,
Well,
yell at
once I
your
go, I don't mind spending an hour. That's not what's or more, but it's really starting to do it. So maybe going 10 minutes will at least establish that pattern. So I can see how that works as well.
Yep. All right, we can come up with a plan later, but let's start with getting you into class on time. That'd be great. All right. Anybody
Not
else,
today,
Alex? What?
but not today, but next.
Not today, show up or show up on time?
No, I have an event until 6, so we'll be there afterwards.
Or there's a class at 6:30. There's a class at
Right.
7:30. There's drinking at 8:30.
Right.
It's like I'll be in time for bourbon.
Right.
All
Yes,
right,
I'll be there.
Alan. Sorry, Dennis, didn't mean to cut you short, but I got you.
Yeah, I think the thing I've been doing good is eating more protein. I've worked out before, didn't see a lot of gains. I think now I realized I wasn't eating enough protein, as dumb as that is. So I drink like a shake every morning for breakfast just to make sure, like, and I would only eat like twice a day instead of 3 times anyway, whatever. But the thing I don't do enough for me is like actually like stretching, or like I get like knots in my muscles that kind of like become injuries or like sore, and I don't spend enough time like getting that stuff out. I used to be more diligent in years past, so that's anyway. But
So it's
yeah.
only more important to do it as we age. And Alan, you're not a spring chicken anymore, and you're 70 years old. But no, working mobility, right? So to your point, important. I would say again, part of this networking thing, reach out to Anne and ask her to assist you. That's her specialty. She can give you a few advices. I know Greg also has been doing some program he's very proud of, because he keep posting half naked picture with his wife on social media all the time. But seems to be working for him. So certainly reach out to other people in the group. And see what they suggest. But love seeing you back in the gym and lifting weights and getting back into it. And start eating more, man. I eat every 2 hours. I don't know how you guys eat twice a day. That's unbelievable. All right. Anybody else wants to chime in? All right. So this is what I'm going to. Oh, yeah. Go ahead, Greg.
Yeah, what you talked about, what I'm posting, that really started for me when I work out, get my wife to work out. So that's really getting her going, and that was a little bit of a challenge when we first started, because she wasn't so used to workout. So I actually made my workouts a lot less, but it was more important to me to get her into the habit of working out and doing all that. Yeah. And so now that's consistent. So now we're at a point where I'm adding on extra weights and doing extra things like that to compensate for that. And then she's got workouts every other day. And so that's what I post, trying to help her and I be, and we like it as a couple, posting together that we're doing stuff. And then I in between I try to get my sprinting in, which is frustrating because it doesn't seem like it's getting better. But that was my takeaway from today, that if I actually track down how my heart rate actually does and the time, that will be a little bit, maybe I hope I'll find some kind of encouragement out of that. Right now I just look down at it, I'm like, yep, I'm out of shape, and that's and that's it. And
So I started using this Whoop thing in February, and the metrics that it gives you are unbelievable. From my resting heart rate to my recovery. And if you actually listen to it and you tailor your workouts accordingly, when should you push harder and when should you pull back a little bit, it does do wonders. So tracking certainly goes a long, long way. So I love the fact that you're doing it now. Awesome. All right. Opening it up to you guys. Any questions? Anything I can help you? Yep, and waving your hand. I'm seeing you.
I see, this is what happens when I'm happy. I need a new, not like a CRM, but like I'm gonna have an event and I want to collect money, but I don't want it to go through the CRM that I use for my school. So what kind of, Greg, I'm talking to you, brother. What kind of event landing pages do you use? Like, I feel like there was an Eventbrite error. Is that still, do we still use Eventbrite?
Well, you can use Eventbrite. You can also use Square directly to collect money, unless you want and you can tie it to any web page. So you can create a one-page website for it, and then tie it to Square. But Eventbrite is good. You can do it for Facebook too, by the way. You can collect money for Facebook, create an event on Facebook, and collect money for Facebook. Same thing with Instagram, by the way. Eventbrite is a big one. Allison, which is the other one we use?
We mainly use Eventbrite
Bless you.
but we do like Facebook events also, but leading everything to Eventbrite and Square, if anything, or now we use Stripe.
Okay. So from like a service fee, do you find that one charges less than the others?
They're very comparable. I mean, there's minute changes, so it depends how much money you're going to raise. Unless you're raising hundreds of thousands of dollars, it's not going to amount out to too much.
Cool. Thank you. Oh, wait.
If you're meeting, I'm going to have my lunch.
If I have a question, can I reach out to you, Allison? I'll send you a Sephora gift card.
You don't need to do that, but yeah, just whenever.
Thank you. Oh, and one
And-
more question. Sorry, I'm
Hold on,
hogging.
Greg wants to chime in. He also
go
wants a
ahead.
Sephora card.
I don't even know what that is, but I mean, we mostly use our own CRM, so I think it would matter what we do. Like we use Spark, and we just have that separate from our stuff, and we all kind of all go through the same place. So I think BK's Al's answer better, but
So what I want to avoid is money coming in from two different LLCs into one bank account, so that if God forbid I'm on a watch list somewhere and they come at me for one, I don't want them to be able to come at me for the other.
yeah, that's not my. I haven't dealt with that yet.
The watch list?
He did
I'm
on
sure
that. But
I
that
don't
comes
know.
more to you.
I'm sure I got to be on someone's watch list. If I'm not, someone's failing their job. But
That goes more to how you said your banking though, and because you can tie in, even from the same website, you can direct money into different accounts based on event specific. So let's say your craft school, sorry.
The what I have with Spark right now is just for my round 3 LLC for the school. So I have another business that I want to collect money for, and I don't want it to come into the school and then transfer money over, and Spark will only go to one. I'd have to pay for a whole other Spark.
So does the other business have its own webpage, or is it just an event? Okay, so just use whatever you said on that webpage for that LLC, tie it to that bank account. So that's always the easiest one, so you don't have to worry about it.
Thank you.
Sure. Did you have another question you said?
I kind of did. The Stroops. What's the best way to contact Megan? Do you know?
Probably social media, which would be Instagram. I'll give it to you. Hold on. In theory, they're on the platform too, but I know they haven't been very active. They're super busy. It is Mini, MINI, Megan, MEAGAN, all one word, MINIMEAGAN.
Thank you.
Sure. All righty, guys. Well, if nobody else has anything, it's been a pleasure. Those of you that counter classes, this Sunday is the first Sunday of the month, meaning there are classes. So hopefully I'll see you guys there. And those of you that counter classes tonight, I'll see you tonight. Otherwise, have a great rest of your week, everybody.
See you guys.
Later.